Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. I want to do some early discussions about Goblin Bikers. I guess technically the name in the TCG has been edited from Goblin Rider to Goblin Biker. Don't love the name change, going to be honest, but I still think this archetype is really cool and it has a lot of potential. So today I'm going to talk about real quick, go over what the deck does and what the gist is, and then I want to talk about a bunch of options. It's kind of going to be a jumbled up video, just a bunch of options that I'm going to throw at the wall. You know, the OCG is not the same as the TCG because they have to play around Maxi so hard, so I think this deck is already kind of on its back foot in the OCG just because the deck really does want to spam a lot. But I do think it's a really cool deck. It's a really cool level 3, rank 3 kind of spam deck, and it's really got some decent stuff going on, and hopefully whatever they get in the next core set will push them even further. But they work really well with just any really generic XYZ package, which is really nice. So yeah, all their monsters basically have some sort of extension effect where they can detach a material from a monster on the field, yours or your opponent's, to special summon themselves. Some of them do it from hand, some of them do it from grave, whatever. But that's really the one kind of, I would say, downside to this archetype is it's really why this archetype can't work as its own thing just yet. It's because you pretty much have to get to an Exceed already before they become extenders. And so you have to pair them with other stuff. Now, Doug the Assaulter is a one-card play, so is the Searcher, because it can just get Doug the Assaulter. So that's totally fine. But outside of those 6 copies, the deck does not have starters. It's all extenders that are predicated on you already getting to an Exceed. So that's really the weakness of the deck. Clutter the Noisy, good extender. Boon the Moxby, good extender. And then Mionda, also one of the good extenders. Like, honestly, it's just 3 good extenders and then a starter. But that's it. The road is pretty insane. Has the potential to just E-Telly out one of them, but normally it's just searching if you don't already have an Exceed out. This card gives you an additional normal summon and some other bonus effects, which is nice. It's probably a 1-of in the deck. It can also help you make rank 6s in the deck, which is also pretty nifty. And then the continuous trap just helps you have an interruption every turn by detaching material from stuff. So that's pretty good. Probably a 1-of as well. And then really, like, other than the main monster and the search spell, probably the most broken card in the deck is Big Head Kabanga. This card, it's a generic rank 3. On summon, it adds any goblin monster from deck to hand. Then if any material is detached from any monster on the field, he can just, like, suck up a monster on the field. Which is broken, so he's like also an interruption / removal. And during the end phase, you can just attach any goblin from your deck to this card as material. That's really good because it just gets some of these names in rotation. Like I said, some of them just have graveyard effects and on the opponent's turn to like detach a material to summon themselves. So not only are you triggering Gabanga's effect to interrupt your opponent on the opponent's turn, but you're also extending some of these guys out on the opponent's turn as well, which is really good. So the fact that this is a generic rank 3 and pretty much just making this is full combo in a lot of scenarios, or at least gets you a lot of value going, is really, really strong. So big fan of Kabanga there, and the setup for the archetype as a whole. Now, as far as a bunch of the options go, like I said, we're kind of jumbled around here, so stick with me here. Just a bunch of generic options. As far as just straight up like level 3 options, one more thing to keep in mind. Doug is a warrior. Clutter is a beast warrior. Boon is another warrior, and Mionda is a fiend. So just keep that in mind because that's actually going to come up here. So first off is Tour Guide. Mionda, we just said, is a fiend. So you already have one of your graveyard extenders, or if it's in grave, it can just detach a material to summon itself. So you already can go Tour Guide for that. Get into Gabanga, and then Gabanga adds this guy, he detaches a material, and you detach Mionda. Now Mionda can extend itself from grave as well. Boom, there's 2 rank 3s just out the gate, right? Just like that. So Tour Guide is a 1-card play. I really, really like that, especially since you don't even have to play any like weird bricky fiends to do it. The archetype already naturally kind of sets you up for it, which is really nice. So this is probably overall the best normal summon I like for the archetype so far. Not bad. These guys, really interesting. So Terratop and Takatomborg, again, this is just basically make a rank 3 without normal summoning. And I will say this, I normally don't always mess around with this card, but just the existence of Terratop and Takatomborg makes me consider playing Small World in the deck. Just the potential, even if you have to go -1 to get it, the potential to make Gabanga pre-normal summon feels quite good. especially if you have a hand like with Tour Guide and you can search Terra Top, because then you like bait interruptions by going Terra Top early, and then you get to normal summon Tour Guide, which is really, really strong. So I like that. That's definitely something as well. Plus, I believe is a Boon. Yeah, Boon is a wind. So so your Terra or your Takatamburg is not even necessarily dead if you draw it. It's not a completely dead brick. I think is worth noting as well. Psychic Wielder, this is just a basic level 3 extender, but it's also a psychic, so it does turn on stuff like E-Telly to just be, extra good extenders that don't require anything, which is nice. Junk Forward, this would be for something like if you play Rhoda and you like already have access to Doug, this gives you a different warrior to be able to search, to just be able to have that as like an extender, like a different extender, so that way you can get more threes on the field, potentially a one of in the deck. I've seen that in the first deck list I saw from the OCG. From there you get to the dangers, just level 3 extenders basically, and then you get to some actual packages, right? So Punk is really interesting to me. There's a lot potentially going on with Punk because Xiamen can just add you another, potentially one of the level 3s, or it could add one of the ones that extends you another one, but depends how big of a package you want to play. But it probably gives you the highest impact for an E-Telly just playing this card, so that already kind of has me a little bit enticed there. So that's definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on for sure. Phantom Knights, this is another one where like this is just a deck that can kind of make rank 3s decently well, and just get you other value. My one worry would be mainly that this deck, as much as it can make rank 3s, that's not its specialty. It also link summons quite a bit, so I don't know what the balance between that would be and if that would actually work out. But it's one of the better rank 3 decks over the history of the last couple of years, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. We already mentioned E-Telly. There's a couple of other targets as well you could mess around with, like Frankenderp, and you could play a copy of Ghost Ogre in your list just so that if you draw extras of this and you don't need them, you can Ghost Ogre on your opponent's turn that way, which is pretty cool. Zodiac. Okay, Zodiac is really interesting. So here's something that is something worth noting. While probably an engine that gets you to a rank 3 is probably the best way to go about it, because then they're also starters as well as like just kind of cards to get an Exceed on the field. There's bonus utilities to the Zodiac, and while Zodiacs won't make you a rank 3, so that way you can get into like Gabonga and get your game going, if you do open Doug or the search spell, you then can just attach a material from one of the Zodiac Exceeds and get things going. Plus, the Zodiac Exceeds tend to just give you really strong utility going second in being able to make like a multiple activation Zeus without activating any effects whatsoever, so that's definitely a bonus. Now that would take some good amount of extra deck space, so if you're on that type of variant, you definitely need to be very aware of that. But that's definitely something that's very interesting to me, is the potential for that kind of situation. Plus, if you opened this plus one of the Goblin biker starters, you would be able, I believe most of the Zodiacs are just like maybe not, is it all of them, or I can't remember if it's all of them or not, but I believe depending on which one you play, or which one, like if you play like Tenki, which by the way, these are all Beast Warriors, and one of these guys is a Beast Warrior as well. I think it's Clutter. Yeah, Clutter the Noisy. So boom, another double searcher there, which is cool. I believe this engine's really good at getting you to F0. So you'd have a monster negate, and then you can just start detaching to keep extending you out with the other guys. So they would take your normal summon. That's really the one downside of it, since their continuous spell is banned, so there's no way to like extend them out. But that's just something to keep in mind. That could be another route to go with the deck. And then Kashtira. Kashtira is really interesting as well, because Fenrir's already such a good defensive card in general, going first, going second. But if you just play one copy of Rise Heart, you now can go like Special Fenrir, Fenrir search Rise Heart, summon Rise Heart, use his effect to banish a Fenrir and raise its level to 7, and then you can just go ahead and make a rank 7. Now you could play something else if you want, but you're probably just going to make Shangri-Ira to summon out your third Fenrir on your opponent's turn, and boom, you've got an Exceed on the field. So now you can just start detaching and extending from that point. And the cool thing here, this doesn't take your normal at all. So this is why I think this package has a better chance of seeing play over something like the Zodiacs, because you can play the Fenrir stuff and you can play the tour guide at the same time, and a bunch of these level 3 extenders. The only thing this really conflicts with is like Terror Top. That's really the only thing. But these are 1/1 cards. These could easily find themselves not in the list potentially, because Fenrir offers you more utility than just than just being an extender, right? It can actually help you break boards and stuff there. So that's really cool. Armor package. This is one more thing that's really, really cool that actually came out in the most recent set, Age of Overlord, that I'm actually seeing like so much more than I expected in the OCG. Like a good amount of decks are just, you see this trap card in the main because they just play this package because they play a deck that can make a rank 3 or a rank 4. And when you do, you make either Armor Torpedo or anything else. It doesn't have to be Torpedo because you can make Armor Fortress on literally any rank 3 or 4 monster. He searches you the trap, and then if you end on the big guy, which I did not throw in here, sorry about that. There's one more big guy that can rank on top of Armor Fortress. The trap pretty much allows you to trigger him on the opponent's turn. I think it just like steals an opponent's monster and like equips to him as an equips spell. So it just makes it so any 2 3s or 4s on that you can put on the field, or honestly for Zodiacs even easier, they get you into an interruption. That's basically it. It gets you uninterruption. You only have to play 1 brick in the main and like 2 or 3 cards in the extra. It's nothing too crazy. Plus they help you rank up for Zeus pretty well. Other than that, looking into the extra deck, you got your Shangri-Ira, you got your Draco Future. This is almost assuredly a part of the deck. The deck just seems so good at pumping out rank 3s. So if you start doing stuff like Leviair and then you make Gabanga, you're able to just make this guy at some point, and then he's insulating your plays while also just adding a really annoying monster to beat on your board. Really nice. Zeus, huge part of the deck for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Downard, pretty clutch as well. Like even in this line, being able to like get an extra material on this, because that means making a 3 means you can like draw a card, put in a material, get him overlay for Downard, overlay for Fortress, overlay for the biggest guy, and then make Zeus, and you get to like draw a card and make a double activation Zeus, which is kind of nasty. Leviair could be clutch. Some of these guys banish themselves when they leave the field after they summon themselves. So yeah, but banish it when it leaves the field. So being able to get those back and just make really good value on some of the rank 3s and like get you free material to like pump into the F-Zeros is really nice. And MX Saber Invoker. This is a low-key one because this is not unbanned in the TCG yet, but it just got unbanned in the OCG. It's doing nothing, but this makes the Zodiac package a little more interesting. Like, imagine only playing like 1 or 2 tankies, or maybe you don't even play any tankies, and you just have like 1 Zodiac monster in the main, and that's it. So that way you could actually go for like an Invoker line where it takes any 2 3s, you get to summon one of the Zodiacs out, and then you get to like start ranking up with the Zodiacs and then go into an Armor Fortress line and like get that stuff going. And because it's Zodiac, you only needed 1 monster to get into that rank up. So it's a little bit more efficient than doing some other lines. I could see that being a thing, like for sure. And then on top of that, like it just gives you, a potential card that you could Zeus with, right? Go into get Borbo out, attack direct, and then make Zeus and do that going second. So I could actually see that if this gets unbanned in the TCG as well, potentially making Zodiac a little bit interesting there. And then, of course, there's always the potential Dryden gets unbanned as well, which makes those a little more interesting for this deck as well. But yeah, just a bunch of ideas here. Just kind of throwing it all to the wall, see what sticks. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. I know a lot of you were really excited for this deck when it first came out. I've had a good amount of you in the comments really talking this deck up and really saying how excited you are. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Is there anything else that should be added into this list, into this video? Maybe we'll do a little more in-depth one later on of like, after I've actually done some testing with some of this stuff, what I like the most and what I think is actually like the most worth riding with, pun intended. And yeah, extra deck, main deck. Let me know your thoughts down below. Anything that you think could have a place here with Goblin Bikers. It's just so much more cringe than Goblin Riders. Why does it have to be bikers? They're riding animals. They're not biking. They're riding animals. I don't understand. Whatever. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe if you have not yet and you want to see more videos like this one down the line, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.